Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to the River Frome. No, it's another one of those horrible English words that's spelt Frome, but it's actually pronounced Frome, I believe. So welcome to the River Frome here in Bristol at Snuff Mills. It's a glorious day today. There's catkins hanging from the trees, there's daffodils blooming, it's springing like spring only can. And I'm here today for a bit of self-indulgence to catch one of my favourite little fishes. A little tiny, teeny, insignificant little fish that most anglers really hate catching because they are just really annoying. But I absolutely adore them. We're a week off of the closed season, where the river's closed so that fish can breed for 3 months. And I'm just getting in that last little bit of fishing. And I'm just, yeah, again, it's that self-indulgent coming down to catch one of the most magnificent mini species, I think, of them all, the minnow. Now, minnows are by no means difficult to catch. In fact, they are nuisance fish to most anglers. If you're ever fishing a river, especially with maggots, they will just hound you and hound you and hound you all day long. You will have no trouble catching them. I've got with me my normal, I should say, river rod, nice centre pin reel, 3-pound line, which is way too heavy for catching a teeny tiny little minnow. But there are a few bully trout in here, so I want to be able to deal with them should they turn up. So I've got a bit of beef. I've got a nice little stick float on, a size 16 hook, which again is a little bit too big really for minnows, but I like to get a couple of maggots on to try and pick out the bigger minnows if I can. And yeah, as I say, just a couple of maggots on a hook. I also have with me big old landing net for a minnow. If I catch a minnow, I shan't need that. You can just swing them in easy enough. They are very tiny fish. But again, there's every chance I might catch a trout. Anyway, first cast of the day. Let's see if I can get a little minnow. Here we go. Come here, little beauty. There we go. First minnow of the day. Here he is. Fantastic. Now, I always think that a fish is only ever a nuisance fish if you're not trying to catch it, which is why I like to get out and catch minnows on purpose. And that way, they're not nuisance fish. I suppose in those terms, any fish is a nuisance fish if you're not intending to catch it. If I was out roach fishing for the day and all I was catching was carp, then the carp would be the nuisance fish. Or at least that's how I like to see it. There's nothing better really than sitting by a river and catching a few minnows. I remember as a kid catching them, just tons and tons of them, and getting really fixated on catching one of the bigger minnows of the lot. What's the biggest minnow you can catch in a day? Give yourself a little challenge. Always enjoyed doing that. And I've had some real stonkers in my time, probably some which, you know, have even been specimen fish. Oh, here we go. Oh, he fell off. They do have a tendency to do that. And just swing it back out into the swim again. Oh, that wasn't a very good cast, Steve. Come on. What are you doing? There's a little bit of breeze here, which is just making it a little bit tricky. That's a bit better. Fantastic. I do love a minnow. But I'm a big fan of the mini species anyway, as I'm sure watchers of the channel will know. I like to give every species of fish their time. We are lucky enough to live in the British Isles, where we have just the most amazing selection of fishes. And it's not all about the carp and the big ginormous trophy fish you see on the front of the angling papers or on social media. Sometimes it's the little tiddlers which really just brings so much joy. And they certainly do to me, as I'm sure you can already see. And I'm sure you will see even more so should I catch a real stonky one, or a particularly nice coloured one maybe, or we will see. We will see what turns up. Ooh. Tricky little devils. Even on a single maggot, it's not that easy to get them. I think the ones in this little area, this little pool, are quite small. To be fair, I've never caught a massive minnow out of a Frome, but woo, keep dropping off. But there's every chance that I could get one. If you don't try, you don't know. I'm certainly going to give it a try today. Oh, there's a kingfisher down the river. There's a load of wildlife here at Snuff Mills. The River Frome runs through a valley. There's rocks either side of the valley. It goes down and up, and the wildlife here is phenomenal. There's kingfishers all day long down this river. If you were a wildlife photographer, which I, profess to be occasionally, this is the place to come and find your kingfishers. Also, I've been lucky enough to fish alongside dippers here as well. A bit further up the river, where it gets quite shallow as the water flows over the weirs. The dippers love bobbing around and turning over stones for all the aquatic life. There's also otters down here. Not that I've seen any, but I've seen people have taken pictures of them down here. So it's really good for wildlife as well. Well, and wild fish too. Come on, minnows. I'm going to give this just a little bit more time. Oh, here we go. Stay on the hook, stay on the hook. Come here. There we are. Just a tiddler, just a tiddler. Right, sit still so I can hook you. Sit still. The thing is, they've got such tiny mouths. Hard to get a hook out sometimes. Maybe I'll give it a little bit longer. Maybe I just haven't let the swim sort of develop yet. But I do know there are a few better spots further up the river for minnows, which I'm actually dying to get to. Just I came to this area because this is where they feed the fish. People come down and, well, they don't intend to feed the fish. They come here to feed the ducks. And where people feed the ducks bread, the fish will inevitably follow them. So I always like to stop off here first, just to see what's swimming around. Getting loads of bobs on the float, but again, they're struggling to get the hook in the mouth. Maybe a size 16 was a little bit too big. Might pop down to an 18 or a 20 a little bit later on, just to make sure I'm getting every opportunity of catching one. Anyway, I'm going to give this a little bit longer and then move along. There's plenty of river to explore. River Frome itself here at Snuff Mills offers such a huge variety of different waters to fish in. You have long, deep, slow glides, and then really fast, rushing shallows. I must admit, I'd love to come down here with a dipping net and fish for shallows. The river is a little bit deep at the moment because we had a lot of rain last week, so I probably won't be able to get in with my wellies, but with a set of waders maybe. I'd love to get in and dip. There's bound to be a few bullheads and things hiding amongst the rocks. Moving along now, a little bit further along, to find some sort of more aerated water. where the minnows like to sort of frolic around a little bit and chase food particles through. But skimming past a lot of fantastic water. Look at this. Look at, there's the big high deep sides of the valley and the fantastic river just slowly trundling its way along. Absolutely glorious. Looks very ancient actually, doesn't it? Lovely. It's actually a fantastic place, even if you're not fishing, just to come and have a walk along. So there's tons of wildlife. The river is beautiful. Nice to have a little bit of sun maybe. But on a cold day like today, cold spring day, it is fantastic. I am loving it. This swim here has always been one of my favourite minnow swims here. And the minnows are still here from last time I fished, which was actually last year. In fact, last year to the exact day that I'm fishing it now. It's a nice little swim. You can get right down close to the water. I'm actually sat on the bank. I've got my unhooking mat on the ground so I can keep a clean pair of trousers because the ground's pretty muddy. But there's lots of overhanging trees and there's little fast flows of water, and there's little slack areas where the fish like to get into and rest up, and they run back into the fast areas to get food. And just by sprinkling in a few maggots, it just incites all that action amongst the fish. Usually when it's a sunny day, the sun gets to a certain spot and it glows down on this area specifically, and that usually brings the minnows in. They come rushing in for a nice little bit of sunshine. But it's a pretty dreary day today, despite being lovely. But we'll see what minnows we can get out of here. I usually like to spend quite a bit of time in this swim because it is a really nice one. The only downside is there's a lot of dog walkers around, and the dogs keep coming and taking an interest in my maggots, so I've got to keep an eye on them at all times to make sure I don't lose a pint to a mouthful of dog food. But yeah, it's lovely. Oh, in fact, the other downside to this swim is there's a load of overhanging trees, which with a 15-foot rod like I've got is a little bit tricky to navigate. There's a special spot I can lift the rod up right there and swing the fish in, should I need to. Well, when I catch a fish I will need to. Oh, snagged the bottom there. Yep. There's also a lot of fallen twigs hanging off the trees which are overhanging, which are hanging straight down, sort of right in the way of my swim. So I've got to be really careful where I'm swinging my line out to. But I've literally just sat here. I've only put like a few sprinkles of maggots out, so I'm going to take a bit of time, build the swim up, and see if I can get some of the bigger minnows to move in, with any luck. In fact, if you know of a better swim to catch these fish in, let me know. I've only been here a little while and I've caught a clonker of a minnow. Look at the size of that beast. There we are, get a bit of focus. Look at the beautiful patterns of it. Glorious fish. In fact, as you well know, I do have my mini scales on me. I might even give him a little weigh, just out of interest to see how big he is. Lovely. can't quite see. That's in ounces. There we are. 0.22 of a minnow. Fantastic. It's a bit noisier here by the weir, but I couldn't pass it without a quick stop off in this really slow, almost still water just before it falls over the falls there behind me. There's this lovely great big log here with all this load of detritus, leaves and bottles and litter and stuff which people have dropped in the water. They've all built up and made a great big raft. I just want to check to see if there's any fish underneath it. There's every chance there is. Anyway, I've just plumbed the depth and I'm going to give it a quick go. It was nice to get a little unexpected trout. I had a feeling there might be a fish or two in that swim, but I think the trout probably scared them all off. He's probably eating those lovely minnows I've been trying to catch. I had a little wander along on the recommendation of another chap walking past saying there was a bridge down here where there was some fish he caught a long time ago round. I think that might be a bridge which is quite a bit further up the river, and I haven't got time now to walk all the way up there. But I just thought I'd stop by this little spot here. It's super shallow, right in the edge, but it just drops off onto this little slow glide going through here. There might be a few fish around here. You never know. You don't know till you have a go, do you? But with there's a little stream coming in, just coming in, a bit of extra flow. Maybe there's a few fish here. Worth a try. Worth a try. Anyway, I've got to try not to fall in because the ground's full of roots. Oh. Here we go. Roots on the floor. Another lovely little minnow. If it'll focus. Problem is with cameras and catching tiny little fish like this is the focus is generally very bad. But there he is, look. Fantastic. That's better. Look at that. That's better. Nice bit of focus. Oh well, missed that one. Another little trout in the swim. eating those minnows. And my maggots. Oh well. Can't win them all. Found trout some minnow fishing show, eh? So for any of you who questioned why I'd put £3 line on to catch minnows, that's the reason why. Look at that. An absolutely stunning brown trout, a male fish, got the big jaw on him ready for the breeding season. Look at that, the markings, the red spots. What a glorious fish. And you know, full of minnows, no doubt, and maggots and bread and God knows what else is in here. But what an absolutely amazing trout. I don't like to have trout too long out the water, so I'm going to pop him back straight away after a quick kiss. Mwah. Oh, thank you. Lovely. A donkey great big £3 trout, closely followed up by one of the smallest minnows I've caught all day. Still magnificent in his own way, mind you. Let's see if we can show him. He's got a mouth. Oh, he's so small he will not show up on the camera for sure. I might get my head out of the way. That's not blood, by the way, that's a bit of maggot juice. You couldn't write it, could you? There you go. Let's see if I can hold them up to camera. They're really fiddly when they're this small. Try and get them on my finger. There we are. Fantastic. The little minnow, although it doesn't get much love off of anglers, is a beautiful fish. It's lovely olive top and its markings. They're really, really lovely. They actually have one of the longest breeding seasons of any of our freshwater fish. I believe they start around April time and carry on right the way through until August. Now the reason for this, I expect, is obvious. They are a prey fish. Near enough everything eats them. Those trout will be munching on them, pike and perch, and they're also getting bombarded from the top by herons and kingfishers and the like. So they have to keep breeding to keep their numbers up and keep going and going and going. But in the breeding season, minnows actually just get even more beautiful because the males go into their breeding colours. As it starts to warm up in the water, the males will actually turn a beautiful, beautiful orange with lovely white sort of gills at the side. They are absolutely beautiful rainbow coloured fish. I haven't had any of them today. It's a little bit too early really. We are just into March, although last time I was here in March I was catching some of these really, really beautiful coloured red male fish. I've actually taken some minnows home and had them in a fish tank to watch, and with the warmer water inside a house they obviously go red. They think, oh, breeding season, it's lovely and warm, let's keep going. And they are magnificent to look at. Although, of course, when they finish doing all of that, it's best to return them back to the river where they came from, rather than keep them as pets, because they're not pets, are they? They're beautiful wild fish. It should be kept so. But it's always worth having a closer look at a minnow next time you catch one, and especially during the breeding season. Now, I'm going to miss the breeding season due to the closed season on the rivers, but I might catch it the other side and attempt to do a proper minnow video without getting upstaged by 3-pound trout. But you never know what's going to happen with angling, and that is why we come sometimes and come out into nature and just bask in its glory and its magnificence, and see if we can catch some of those beautiful freshwater fish that call our freshwater rivers, lakes, ponds, streams, canals their home. Thank you for joining me today at the bottom of the gorge on the banks of the River Frome here at Snuff Mills. Click like if you like the video, look through some of my back catalogue, there's plenty of other videos on there to watch. Hit subscribe to my channel, you can see all the upcoming videos which I'm going to be doing, and I will see you next time on the bank. Bye!